Pacific Oaks College is located in an urban setting in the city of Pasadena in Los Angeles County. Much like the Southern California region, Pasadena residents are racially, ethnically, and economically diverse. In 2019, Dr. Jack Pedunton was named president of Pacific Oaks College. He developed a committee to research the feasibility of meeting the eligibility requirement and apply to the Department of Education for a Hispanic Serving Institution grant. Pacific Oaks College applied with a 48.7% of its total undergraduate student population as Latinx above the 25% eligibility requirement. In October 2020, Pacific Oaks was awarded a U.S. Department of Education Title V grant, providing a $2.5 million across 5 years. These funds allowed us to implement a wide range of services to academically support our students' retention to graduation and thrive during their college experience. Students benefit from a dedicated undergraduate success center with a lending library of books and laptops, complimentary bilingual tutoring service, academic advising, a speakers series to share the backstory and successes based on a foundation of higher education of Latinx. This podcast series is part of our HSI Grants educational outreach to raise awareness of the value and importance of higher education degree attainment within the Latino community. The podcast will provide you with information on how to begin your college dream. You'll learn about financial aid in completing the FOFSA, aligning your interest with a college degree program, the application process, and what campus resources are available to you. We will share motivating stories from local Latinos who have overcome challenges and earned their college degree as the foundation for their success. You will also hear from faculty and alumni who are there to support you as a student to strive and excel, becoming self-sufficient and successful.
Welcome to Pacific Oaks College Hispanic Serving Institution Podcast, Tu Sueño, Tu Realidad.
If you are ready to transfer, your first step is to talk to the transfer counselor at your community college. They have the information you need about majors, schools, the transfer, and the application process, as well as information on financing your education. Next, schedule a visit, in person or virtually, at the school you want to attend and talk to their admissions counselors. You can learn a lot about their school's admissions process. There are many people and resources out there to support your journey, so get out there and talk to everyone and do your research.
Okay, so we are here in this episode 6 of the podcast. I'm here with Amin Maghsoodi and Dr. Castro. Dr. Castro, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you, and welcome to Amin.
Yes, Amin, thank you so much for your time. And tell us a little bit, where's your title?
So thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here and part of this podcast. I am Amin Maghsoodi. I am the Executive Director of Partnership Development at Pacific Oaks College.
Great. So we're going to talk about a very important process, which is the transfer process, right? From community college to the 4-year university. So what can you tell us about this important process?
So transferring from a community college to a 4-year university is a great idea. The reason is that when you go to these 4-year colleges, a lot of the college programs that you may be interested in, especially if you're going into a public college, their programs may be impacted. What does that mean? That means that applying into the program may not be available to you because of the fact that they basically have more applications than seats available. So by coming in as a third-year student, meaning you have all of your general education course and everything complete, your chances of getting into a program are higher because now you don't have to worry about completing your general education courses, and you have the ability just to jump right into your core courses. Coming in as a transfer student also gives you the ability to really make sure that the degree that you're looking for is actually the degree that you want. When you're at a community college, they have amazing courses that you can take that will give you insights into a lot of different fields that are out there. So if you're interested in a couple of different fields, you can really take courses in those areas and then really help you decide, yes, this is a field that I want to go into. So now when you're looking to transfer, you know the right program and the right school to transfer.
You will recommend every student to go through the community college process before jumping into four-year university?
I think it's a great idea. Some students have the ability to jump right into a four-year university, and that's an option for you. Wonderful. But other students, like I said, some colleges that they want to get into may be impacted. Cost may be a big factor as well. So when you go into a community college, there are grants and other programs that actually help you pay for courses, which almost can make community college free. There are things called the Promise Grant that will actually help pay for the first 2 years of your community college. And what that'll do is that'll save you so much money and allow you to really save up for the college experience. So when you get into a four-year school, you're not worried about paying a full tuition load that you would normally if you went all 4 years.
Basically, what you're suggesting, I mean, is that the students should really be doing some homework before deciding to go into, because you just talked about a promise grant. I don't think we've heard that before. And so there are opportunities that different maybe colleges do offer. And so you really need to understand how this would work. And that the only way to do that is to start investigating, reaching out. And so who do we reach out to?
So every community college has counselors, whether they're in their transfer center or a career center that you can set up time to meet with. They're the first people that you can go to. And what they're going to do is they're going to talk to you about things like transfer agreement guarantees or tags. They'll talk to you about articulation agreements. And what these are, a transfer agreement guarantee or a tag agreement, what that allows you to do is you sign up from the beginning, you take a set of courses, you get good grades, and that pretty much guarantees you admissions into the college that you're looking to get into. Now, if that's not an option for you, they have what are called articulation agreements. And what articulation agreement says that the courses that you're taking at a community college, how will they transfer into a full 4-year bachelor's degree when you transfer? So what that'll allow you to do with meeting with the counselors is really set up your education plan so you don't end up taking more units than you need. I've been in higher education for over 17 years, and I've seen countless students coming in with over 100 units from a community college. And when I ask them, why are you coming in with so many units? They say, well, I didn't know. I didn't know which courses to take. And I said, well, did you get a chance to talk to your community college counselor? And always the answer is going to be no. So the first people to speak to is your transfer counselors at your community colleges. A lot of times the 4-year schools come and present to the transfer centers. And so these counselors are well aware of all the different programs that are out there. And they can also talk to you about financial aid. They can talk to you about the different grants and everything that are available for you so that you're able to really minimize your costs and also minimize your stay at a community college. You get on a focused track. You get the classes that you need, and then you get on what you need to do to get your courses and graduate.
Excellent. Thank you. Wow. There's a lot that needs to be done from that perspective, but I think the points that you just made is to really speak to that counselor.
So let's talk about the application. How to complete the application. What's entitled in this application?
First thing you want to do is talk to your college counselor at your community college. What they're going to do is they're going to talk to you about the different applications and different processes that are out there. So if you want to get into a 4-year public school like a Cal State or a UC, they have a set of application systems that they use. Private schools have their own applications. There's also the common application where you complete one application and then you submit that one application to, I believe right now there's over 900 schools within the Common App. There's the Common Black College application. This is for, it's the same process where you do one application and you submit them to multiple HBCUs. So there's different application processes. A good piece of advice is not only, talk to your counselor at the school that you're currently at, but go to the admissions office for the school that you're interested in. they have their own set of admissions counselors, and they'll talk to you about the process and what the admissions application looks like and what the requirements are. When you're transferring from a 2-year college into a 4-year college, you have to understand that you're not the only one that's going to be applying, that there's going to be many, many other students. And colleges really do try to review every application and try to bring in the best students that they can for their programs. Now, what's going to set you apart from other applicants will be obviously, your grades and the classes that you've taken, but extracurricular activities are really important because when the admissions team is looking at an application, they want to see a student that's knowledgeable about many different things that is going to bring a lot to their school. So if you have extracurricular activities, if you have volunteer opportunities and things like that you can add to your application, definitely add it. One thing to know that it will never hurt to add that information. No school is going to look at it and say, no, this person has too much extracurricular activities. They're always going to take a look at it and then actually give you, more points, so to say, when they're actually reviewing your application. So if you have extracurricular activities, even if you don't think that it's relevant to the program you're applying to, you still want to submit it, because every time you do an activity, every time that you do a volunteer, you learn things that you'll actually be able to bring into the classroom that'll help you be successful moving forward.
What would be your comment in terms of how can we portray the best of ourselves, for this application?
So your essay is also very important, because the essay is your ability to tell the admissions committee who you really are. When an admissions committee is reviewing an application, they're going to see somebody that has an academic record, extracurricular activities, awards, whatever they may have. But that's just one side of it. They're not going to get to see who the real person is. And that personal statement or entrance essay is really your way and your opportunity to shine, to say, look, this is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. You should accept me because of this. A lot of the essay prompts that the colleges have are open-ended, which means that, they're not just going to say, give us a short answer. They want to see you really articulate who you are and show it on paper, so that when they're reviewing all the different applications, that they actually review that. These essays do get read by the admissions committees, so do spend time on it. Grammar is important, especially if you're coming from a transfer college. If you need help writing your essay, go to your college counselors. They have different options for essay writing. Sometimes they have essay writing workshops. They may have essay writing tutors that can help you, and even talk amongst your peers. Everyone that's at a community college, a lot of times are looking to transfer as well. Talk amongst each other and share and read each other's stories and give feedback and say, this is great. Maybe you want to, highlight a little bit more about this. Your peers and your colleagues may actually come up with an idea. Say, hey, you know what? Remember that time that you spent doing, the volunteering? That's a really good opportunity for you to put into your essay, and they might help you actually come up with some good ideas as well.
What important things are the letter of recommendations, right? So what is the best way to get this letter of recommendation, to ask for this letter of recommendation? Because especially sometimes, we as a Spanish student, we kind of feel shy to ask for those letter of recommendations. So what would you recommend?
So if the school says 2 recommendations are required, I'd always shoot for 3 or 4. You always want to have more, just in case if one falls out, you have a backup. So first thing you do is you write your list of recommenders. Now the recommenders should be academic. So previous faculty, it could even be like a college counselor, but they want to see something academic from you, and preferably something recent, right? So if you're at a 2-year community college, they'll probably want to see something from your college experience, not necessarily your high school experience, right? But let's say, in addition to academic, let's say you do some volunteering and you are out there in the community. Having a recommendation letter from somebody that you volunteer with or volunteer for is really a good option as well, because that also shows who you are outside of academics. So once you have your list of recommenders, the next thing you want to do is ask the recommenders. Now, you need to find out what the deadline is, and you need to give your recommenders plenty of time to be able to, write the recommendation and get it back to you, because you have to understand, people that you're writing, asking for are working professionals, so they may not have time to do it right away. So you want to give them ample amount of time to be able to get it back to you, and then give a few weeks probably buffer, so that if there's ever, a delay, you still have some time. When you're asking the recommenders, just ask them. A lot of these faculty members are used to being asked for recommendation letters. And whether it's in an email or in person, and then follow up with an email, what you want to do is explain what your goals are. I'm planning to get into XYZ university to continue my education in business, whatever it may be. And I would love your support in writing a letter for me. Then when you ask them that, you also want to give them the details of the recommendation letter. Some colleges have an electronic system where you enter in the recommender's name and an email, and then they get a link and they do a questionnaire online. Other ones are more traditional, where they actually ask you for a printed recommendation with a wet signature, and then you submit that sealed in an envelope. So you give them all of those details. And then, like I said, you give them a deadline, but that deadline is going to be a couple of weeks or more before your actual deadline. So you have that space there. And then, kind follow-ups, maybe a couple of weeks just to check in and say, hey, I know you're busy. How's it going with recommendation letter? Are there questions? Anything can I do? And then once it's done, it's really important, write a thank you letter, right? And just say, thank you for doing this for me, and if you get accepted to that school, come back to that recommender and say, hey, I got accepted to the school. Trust me, they're going to be so excited to hear that. And the fact that they may have had a little part of it, it gives them a lot of excitement as well.
I really appreciate that, because this is kind of like a training for the future when they are going to be working, on companies, on their own, enterprise, where they have to be some sort of a etiquette, when you communicate or when you ask something. So I really like that suggestion of obviously say thank you and then follow up, at the end of the process if it works or not. Also, on the process, there's some tests. When should we take those tests?
So those tests primarily will happen in high school, and so they have the pre-SAT and the pre-ACT and the PSAT. Those are the preparation exams that students can take. Once you get into a community college and you take a certain number of units and you're able to actually earn your associate's degree, when you apply to a four-year college, sometimes the ACT and the SAT are no longer required, because now you have an associate's degree. So that's something to definitely look into. And the best way to do it, go to the college that you're interested in, talk to their admissions counselor and say, look, I have X number of units from ABC Community College. Do you need my SAT or ACT scores? They may say yes, they may say no. Now, regardless of if they need the ACT or not, remember the ACT will allow students to earn college credit towards their degree. If you haven't already used your ACT scores to earn credit at a community college, you may want to look into that to submit those scores so that you can get college credit when you're in the four-year college. But talk to the college that you're interested in and ask them, are the ACTs and the SAT required? And if they say yes, then you have a lot of time to prepare for it in advance. And then if they say no, say, wonderful, then do you accept the ACT for transfer credit?
There's a case also of immigrants that come, to this country and they have some sort of education, or sometimes they haven't really finished high school and they start with community college with, ESL classes and things like that. What would be the process for someone like that hasn't attended college here in the United States? Maybe they did it on their own country, or maybe they didn't at all. So what would be the process for them?
Whatever amount of education, whether it's high school or college, that a student may have attended in their home country, what they want to do is they want to get those transcripts translated and then evaluated by a professional evaluation company. What you want to do is you want to look up NACES, that's NACES. That's the organization that accredits evaluation companies. And it's really important to use a NACES approved evaluator. The reason is that there's a number of other evaluation companies which are completely legitimate, but they only evaluate for immigration purposes, for work purposes, and it works fine for that. But they don't do the course by course breakdown, which is really important. I'll repeat, the course by course breakdown of your courses. They'll list the number of units, they'll list the grades, and then at the end, it'll say on the evaluation that, that this degree earned in Mexico is equivalent to a US degree, or it'll say the number of units earned in, whatever country is equivalent to 39 units here in the US. That evaluation then becomes your official transcript that you can take to your college and show them these are the units that I have, so you can get credit for those units. Now, if you don't have college experience, then some colleges may ask you for high school. So if you have a high school experience back in your country and you have a diploma, you still want to get that evaluated, because when you come into a college, they may require that that you have a high school degree, or they may ask you to do like a GED or something like that. So if you have trouble getting your high school transcripts, then you may want to look into what's called the GED. That's a way for you to actually test out and earn a high school diploma equivalent, and that would work the same as a high school diploma to get into a community college or college.
That's a good point, Amin, from the perspective of making sure that these individuals who are coming from another country to study here in the U.S. or are living here in the U.S. and want to go back to school, that they do have this information readily available, their transcripts.
And Dr. Castro, you also brought up a good point about not being able to get documents. I've worked with many students in my experience that felt that the Department of Education or the Ministry of Education is no longer there, or they don't have access to it. And a lot of times they may not. But what I always suggest is contact an ACES approved evaluation company, because they've worked with all of these countries and they may have more information for you. And there has been times where my students have come back and said, you're right. I was able to go to whatever evaluation company, and they told me how I can get my transcripts, and they were actually able to get transcripts. So it's always a good idea to contact an evaluation company that is approved by NACES. They'll let you know. And there'll be times where, I've had them come back to me, the actual company, and say, this country is going through whatever the issues are going through, and we have had a lot of trouble getting transcripts and documents. So then we have a plan B for the student at that point.
And that's good to know, because what that means to me is that we're not necessarily, that we don't have any options. That's great to continue the process to say that there is an opportunity, plan B, and whatever that happens to be in order to support. Thank you.
Just finish on that note. So for for immigrants that came to this country and they didn't have, high school at all, they didn't have any college at all, what would be the process for them?
So you go talk to the college counselors at the community college, and they'll talk to you about the requirements. There are opportunities for certain students to get into a community college without a high school diploma. And what you'll do at that point is you'll make sure that you continue to actually earn your associate's degree, because many four-year colleges, if you have an associate's degree, will not require a high school diploma. So if that's the case, you just follow their application process, and they'll be able to go through, get you into the program and accepted as a student, just earning an associate's degree. But it's important to get that degree if you don't have the diploma. The other option, like I mentioned, would be to go after something like the GED which would allow the student to, and there's courses and there's training materials which you'll take, and you take exams based off of general high school knowledge. And if you're able to pass those exams, then you're able to get the GED, and that is your high school equivalent.
You mentioned on the beginning about the Common App, and can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
The Common Application is a third-party application system that about 900 different colleges and universities use nationwide. And what this is that it's an application where you pay one application fee to actually complete the application, and then you pay a smaller fee to send the applications to however many schools that you're interested in. And what that means is, let's say you want to apply to 10 different schools, you're not completing 10 different applications. You're completing one application and you're sending that same information to 10 different schools. Now, you have to pay attention because a lot of schools may accept the Common Application, but may have a secondary application process or may have additional documents that you may have to submit once the Common Application is submitted. So that's something to be aware of. And the way to do it, you go to the admissions office at the college you're interested in and talk to them. Say, I'm going to use the Common Application. What else is required afterwards? And then they'll tell you all the information that you need. But the Common Application really opens the door for a lot of students that one may have not have heard of different colleges that may be in the vicinity or maybe offering programs that they're interested in, and gives them more access to applying to multiple colleges rather than the college that's just right down the street from them. Every college, whether it's a community college, a public school, a private school, a four-year, they have an admissions page. The admissions page always outlines what the requirements are for the program that they're interested in, what the fees and the deadlines are. And from there, you'll be able to get all the information that you need. But more importantly, and like I've mentioned, and you can see how important it is, because I brought this up multiple times, it gives you the opportunity to set up some time to actually meet with an admissions counselor. Right now, you can do it virtually, you can do it in person. There's a lot of opportunities for you, but it's really important for you to go and meet with an admissions counselor, because the information that you have on the screen in front of you is a lot of really detailed information, and they really help you kind of sort through that. Some colleges, you may even be assigned an admissions counselor. So as you're going through the admissions process, you may work with one admissions counselor that you can call on a regular basis and say, hey, I just submitted my letters of recommendation. What's next? Or they may even call you and say, hey, we just got your letters of recommendation. Are you ready to submit your personal statement? So building the relationship with these admissions counselors really gives you that upper hand, because they're going to hold you accountable, and then you can also go to them if you have questions. A lot of times you get their direct line, you get their email direct or chat, whatever it is, and you can reach out to them directly. But the first step is to go into the college's website, and then from there, you'll get all the information that you need about application fees, application fee waivers, the application process, and everything that you need to know.
So after I submit my application, what will be the next step?
Call the admissions office and you say, hey, I just submitted my application. What's next? Right now, a lot of the systems nowadays are pretty high tech, where you'll start getting reminders. Okay, this document is in. A lot of times you'll actually get access to an application portal where you can log back in and check the status of your application. It'll go from application received to missing documents, to application received, documents complete, to application reviewable. And then so sometimes you can actually see the progress of your application as it goes through the system. If they don't have a portal like that, then again, follow up, check your emails, make sure that you have an email address that you check on a regular basis, make sure that there's not tons of junk mail in there. I always suggest students, create a new email address, put, applying for college at hotmail.com or whatever, so that's your applications email so that you can go and check that on a regular basis, and you don't have to file through a bunch of different junk mail just to get to what you need. So answer phone calls when they call you, follow up on emails, visit the admissions office, call the admissions office, ask them about the opportunities for, what the next steps are. And they're more than happy to talk to you about that.
I mean, thank you so much. This is a very detailed information. What would you say to someone that is really listening right now and is, with the pencil and the paper, ready to start the process? What would you say to this person that's listening right now?
I think you know what I'm going to say. Go talk to your admissions counselor. It really is, because especially if you're in high school, go talk to your high school college counselor. If you're in community college, go talk to your community college counselors. If you're in a 4-year school and you're ready to transfer or apply for a graduate school, talk to the counselors, because every step of the way, every counselor is the expert on what their programs are. They know what the process is. They know how to help you. I've had students come to me with parents to sit down and say, look, I know about your school. I know that this is a great school that offers a program that I want, but I have no idea where to start. And I'm like, perfect. You're in the great seat, because I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know. And guess what? You're going to go home with a folder of all your next steps. All right. So the answer is go talk to your admissions counselor at the college that you're interested in. Check out their websites. There's tons of websites. They do information sessions. Go do campus tours. A lot of colleges have open community events. Go visit those events, right? Whether it's a webinar or something that interests you, or a football game. Go check it out. Go see what the student life is on campus. Talk to the faculty. Faculty are accessible. You have all their information. If you go onto the the school directory, you can find faculty and find a faculty member that's in your interest and say, hey, I'd love to learn a little bit more about what you teach, right? And they'll talk to you about that. Faculty love to talk about what they're doing and what they're teaching, right? Find somebody. The most important thing is go out there and talk to people. Don't expect somebody to come to you and give you all that information. Go out there and seek it. Don't be shy. People are there. They're getting paid to help you. So help them do their jobs. Let them help you so that they can go to their boss and say, look, I'm doing my job. So go out there and get the information, because the information is there for you, and talk to people. Most colleges, right, when you log into their main website, have multiple different menus and drop downs, and usually one of them is events, and so you should be able to go on to their events website and find out all the different events that are available. Some will post every event, whether it's specific to students only or to the community. Some will have 2 different community calendars, one where you have to be a student to log in, and one's more of a community calendar. So go on to the events. If you can't find it, call the admissions office and say, hey, what kind of events are happening, or where can I find the events? But usually if you go on to every school's website, you should be able to find a tab that says events, or at least a search that you can just type in events, and all the information is usually there.
You can now talk to your counselor. That's what you have to do. Well, thank you so much, Amin.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope that I was able to give some good information. And again, last piece of advice, go talk to the admissions counselor. That's what they're there for. They're going to give you all the information that you need. And good luck on the process.
In the next episode.
I love teaching so much. I love to be in higher education, even though it wasn't the path that I set when I was young. But this journey, along the way, I found so many valuable things that changed me, that transformed me.
Dr. Jack Padantin, president of Pacific Oaks College, shared his story of coming to the US when he was 24 years old without speaking a word of English. He shared his struggles and his commitment to himself not to be deterred by racist comments and stay focused on his educational goals, knowing that education will open doors, socially and economically.